am having a conversation with one of my good work buddies, Joy Vetterlein. I will let Joy introduce herself to all of you. Joy, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hi, Megan. Congrats on your podcast. This is very exciting, and I'm so excited to be here with you. So you and I know each other through our work with Hope Writers.
Yes.
But I also am a writer. That's one of my other many jobs as a writer. And I write primarily for what I call Christian misfits, people who have some sort of faith affiliation, love Jesus, like have some background in church, but for whatever reason, like are not connecting with the current expression of church in the world. I'm finding there's a lot of us, and I like to gather us all together and help people who are feeling lonely in their spirituality feel less alone.
I love it. It's lovely. So what we're here to talk about today is how you, Joy, grew your Instagram following from 0 to over 1,000 followers. And I believe as of this recording, we're over 1,300 followers, which is very exciting.
It is exciting and sort of unbelievable because I started my Instagram account like 18 months ago. And when I started, I was none of those things that I just introduced myself as. I knew none of that about myself, but I discovered it in the process of building my Instagram. It feels so pretentious to say my Instagram following, but I really just think of it as like I found my people on the internet, and I found my people on Instagram, and it has been so fun and so great to find my people because they're like my friends now. Like I go online and I get to see my friends, and it's really cool.
That is definitely the fun part of growing a following. They're not just numbers, they're real people that become your actual friends.
It's for real. Like we like chat about what we had for dinner and stuff.
So you say do you remember like how many months in you reached that 1,000 follower mark?
Yeah, I did, because it was just a couple months ago. It was like about 2.5 months ago, I hit 1,000. And so that was a pretty big achievement for me to get there. And I have noticed that the further I get, the easier it is to grow, I guess. Like the first 100 was really hard. The first 500 was like probably the hardest. And then it kind of started like by then I had figured stuff out, and enough that people started kind of sharing some of what I was saying. And that seemed to be where things started picking up a little bit more.
So what would you say? I'll ask you a little later about like your posting style and your schedule and what do you do with those things? But I want to know up front, what are the things that you felt really pushed the needle forward and made a difference in the rate of your follower count going up?
Yeah. I really started honing in on what was getting traction. So I started really looking at insights. I tried, not always successfully, not to be super obsessive about how many likes each post got, but I definitely like look back and see, okay, what sorts of things are getting the most likes among the people that follow me. And it became really clear what they were interested in hearing from me and what they were not interested in hearing from me. They were definitely not interested in hearing like cute stories about me as a mom or seeing like pictures of my daily walk or whatever. But they were really interested in the things I had to say about things that I realize now are things that really mattered to them and that they're having a hard time finding anybody else saying, which in my niche of this Christian misfit is people willing to say kind of controversial things about Christianity or spirituality. And I found that that text for me is way like almost like twice as successful as photos. And like my like text, like just super stripped down. I literally have one font that's black on a white background. That's all I do. And those are the ones that get, those will get shared more, and those can get picked up, and I can get quite a few likes and quite a few followers from those just quick statements that really like articulate something for people that they're having trouble articulating for themselves.
Okay. So you're
once
talking
I started
about
doing that,
gotcha.
It picked up a lot more.
So you're talking about quote graphics, like just words on a graphic. Like that is your, in place of a picture, you're putting up a graphic of a sentence or a quote or something that your audience really resonates with.
Yeah.
So if I could step back for just a moment, can you tell me a little more about looking into insights and what you were looking at? And when you said it was clear, how did you know that?
Yeah. It was clear just in terms of likes, but also I would look at like in insights, I would look and see what were my top posts over the year, top posts over the month, top posts over 6 months or whatever. And that's where I started noticing patterns, like, oh, these ones are consistently at the top of the list, and these ones, like these quote graphics, are filling the top of my list, and these photos from my daily walks are at the bottom of the list. Not that I don't still post those, but I've really upped the amount of quote graphics that I do. Photos for me are almost just kind of filler now, just because I can't think of enough quote graphics to post often enough, and to have a little bit of a curated grid.
So that is a good point, bringing up the curated grid. That is really important to some people and not important at all to others. Do you feel like it makes a difference to your audience?
No. And in fact, I sort of had to break out of fear of messing up a grid. I sort of had a vision for how it could look. And I only, like at the beginning, I was really wanting to post things that had a certain look. I was looking at other people and saying like, wow, they have such beautiful photographs of nature and themselves. And like, that's what I want mine to look at. But that trying to be that way was keeping me from experimenting. And I like, that's probably experimentation is the most important thing I did. And actually the person who told me to experiment was you.
Me.
Because yes, you were saying like, just try a whole bunch of things and see what sticks. Who cares about your grid? And I started experimenting with memes. I would make my own, and those went crazy. I didn't get many followers, but I got a ton of likes, like over 1,000 likes in a weekend on a meme. And that was really fun. And it totally messed up my grid, but it was like, well, who cares if this is what my people want? I'm so glad that I was willing to break out of that and find that. And that just sort of opened the path for me to experiment with other, like, let me try some different styles of quote graphics, and let me try some different styles of photos, and let me, just try different things and see what lands.
Do you still do? Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yes, you did. So do you still post the memes? You knew, I remember you talking about that struggle, like these do so well, but I'm not getting followers from them.
Yeah, I was. And then like we're at the time, sorry, at the time of recording, we are still in the middle of a pandemic. And I have found that particular part of my brain that comes up with memes has not survived the pandemic. So for a while, I was trying really hard to come up with things that were funny, and they weren't funny. So I stopped trying and just gave myself permission just to do what was coming easily, which were phrases to put in quote graphics and photos with thoughtful things to say. So right now, I do 2 different kinds of posts. I know you said we'd get to this later, but I do words and I do a photo, and sometimes the photo's of me and sometimes it's not. And sometimes the graphic is something I said and sometimes it's not. That's working really well for me because I can usually come up with one or the other within a couple days and save it for later if I need it.
That's great. So is there anything else that you felt where you saw like there's a defining moment or something you did specifically or a strategy that you saw that you tried that worked really well?
Yeah, I mean, I used hashtags all along, and then I found a couple that I was like, oh, this is really where my people are. Honestly, it took me a long time to find those hashtags because my people by nature are not ones that like misfits don't gather in groups. They're sort of one-offs. So for a while, I was having to sort of just take a shotgun approach and hope I was getting a few people here and there. But then I did find a couple hashtags that worked for me. And so I use those on almost every post, but switch it up a little bit. And then it really was just taking the time to hone in on my reader. And I actually think one of the most important things I did was take a month off of social media. Because right when I had started doing those memes and I was getting more likes than I had ever gotten, I was also seeing that bump up in engagement for my other posts too, that were things I wanted to say. And after that, I just started panicking like, oh my gosh, now there's actually people looking at this. What the heck am I talking about? I don't know. Like I had to, and I was so burned out. It was right after the holidays. So I took January and I just took it off and I just took the pressure of having to post and let myself just sort of like think and dream and figure out, okay, what have I seen so far? And what do I want to talk about? Like, what is life giving to me to talk about? And what of that matches what they're responding to? And one of the things that was making it really, that was really stressing me out was the need to design a quote graphic. And so that was an easy problem to solve and say, you know what? I'm just like a black on white text kind of girl. Like that is just going to be my brand all through that matches who I am. So just giving myself permission to really, really simplify and say, okay, here's the kinds of things I do, and to give myself time to like read more, to, you know, go back to like learning and putting some more work into my brain and kind of honing like, what is it I'm trying to do here? Who am I trying to serve? And what do we want to talk about? Once I had some time for that, when I came back, I felt like I had a renewed energy to serve them and I had a clear sense of what they needed and I was able to articulate it. And I saw them grasp hold of what I was saying. Like what I was putting out was better quality. And so they were more eager to like receive it and share it, which had a snowball effect over the year.
Oh, there's so much in there that I want to talk about. But I do want to preface one that your business, is it okay if I call it a business? It's a business,
Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
you're doing this,
Yeah.
like your goal in getting on social media and building this Instagram account is not to be Insta famous. Your goal is to build a business, a writing business. Is that fair to say? Or what, how would you classify it?
You know, it's tricky. It's a little bit more, I'm not like a nonprofit, but I definitely am. I do want to make income from this, but I think my primary goal is really because I really just care about this particular demographic of people that's neglected. So that's probably like I've been a pastor in my career. And so that's sort of translating here now. So my goal really is to like find this group of people and help them. And I need to get paid in order to keep doing that. So that's like, I don't think it's wrong at all to build a business. For me, that's not my driving force, but I do need to like support this so that I'm able to keep spending the time to do it. So yes, I want to grow my business so that I can keep serving people and also honoring my family and the time I'm taking from them to do this.
Yeah, that's such a great point is that, you know, call it a business or a ministry or a nonprofit, what have you. But with any of those, you need to raise the funds to keep supporting it so that it can keep going on and helping the people that you
This
want to
isn't
help.
just a hobby for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it being a thought leader type of business,
There you
a
go.
business
Yeah.
that, yeah, there we go. A business that is growing because, or is building this audience because of how you can help them with your mindset, with the not only the thoughts that you bring them, that's not the right thing, but not only the mental things that they can chew on, but tangible things that they can learn from and will change their
like
lives.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have that maybe built-in benefit of a content generation that maybe not every business does, but that was kind of your process. And what I'm hearing is that first you had to find out what you had to say, like what you have in yourself, like you had this desire to help people and to further your ministry, but you didn't quite know who your people were and what that was going to look like at first. So you had to experiment. You had to figure it out along the way. You had to talk to them literally, figuratively, and through
really
your
did.
posts and have that conversation back and forth. And even though it feels a lot of times like a one-way conversation, really they are telling you, they're literally voting with their likes and their comments and their shares. And telling you what's working and what's not working, what's resonating with them and what's not. And I think that's one thing that's universal across all businesses is that people vote with what they're doing. And so many people, I'm so glad to hear you say that you dig into the insights, because I feel like that's one thing that people don't do that's so easy. And it's right there, all the data right there. When they're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what's working, nothing seems to be good. I'm like, well, what is working? Like, what are you doing that people are resonating with? And what we tend to do is just remember how it did like an hour after you posted, or maybe the next day you remember, but you really have no objective perspective of how it's doing in the overall scheme of things. So I know with each of my clients, I literally have, and not everybody needs to do this, but I literally have a spreadsheet that I fill in the data for each of the platforms that we're on and how it's growing and which of the posts did well and why I think that might have been, and that all things which you did in like simplest form, looking at the data, you went into the insights, you figured out what was working well and repeated it. Like, it's not rocket science.
Totally.
It didn't take you a bunch of numbers to crunch.
So even something as simple as like noticing that there was a certain like bump at like time of day, that person looks at my post and saying like, oh, how about I post then? And it's true. Like for me, like 12 noon, well, during the pandemic, it's different. It used to be like 6 p.m. was my sweet spot. Now it's like 12 p.m. But yeah, things I post early in the morning don't do as well as things I post at the times that, it tells me. So you're right. It's pretty easy. It's right there. It's fun to click around if you're willing to like swallow the bad along with the good and see it all as, and you say this, it's just data. It's just data. It's not saying anything about me as a person. It's just data that I can do something with. So
exactly. And the farther away we can get our ego from the performance of the actual post, that has the better that we are, like the more objectively we can look at that. And maybe even have somebody else look at it if it bothers you enough and just have them tell you like, do more of this.
It's crazy how much your mental and emotional health get wrapped up in your social media like traction and statistics. And it's I have to definitely put some boundaries around it. And like Sundays, I don't look at my phone all day because I need a break. And there's other times where I'm like, okay, no, I don't have anything to say. Don't force a post if you don't have anything to say. It's gonna be fine. So
So when you can I ask about the hashtags? You mentioned that shortly or
Yeah.
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What were you looking for? What did you do when you found those hashtags where you felt like, oh, these are my people and where I need to be
Yeah.
interacting?
I feel like hashtags are a little bit of the bane of my existence on Instagram, to be honest. I don't enjoy them. I feel like my other job, I'm like a project manager. So I'm very much like, there has to be a system and a way to do this. And I know there are, but I still haven't found that way that like consistently works for me. Um, I would I would find one hashtag that was kind of familiar, and I would look at that hashtag, and then I would see all the posts on that, and then see if there were any other hashtags that those people used. People that were already using one that I thought might work for me, and I would see what hashtags they were using, and I would kind of keep a list. And I did that a couple times, and then as I got more invested in trying to um, uh, actually, no, it really was just as I honed what I was interested in and started following those authors, like authors of books that were really in line with what I was saying. I would see them use hashtags, or I would see people who commented on their posts. I would follow them back and see what hashtags they use, and like just, I don't know, just sort of like insert myself into the network of people kind of talking about similar things and see if there were hashtags that worked for me. And then I kind of have probably about 7 or 8 that I use almost every post. And then I have a couple others that I'll rotate in and out depending on what I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't do like 30. I don't think it does as well when I do like all 30, but I'll try to have like 10 to 15 that seem to be right in my area. And yeah, they have worked a little bit. I have had some people find me and follow me through that. And then those people will share my words, and then their friends follow. That's been probably the most, how most of my growth has happened.
Yeah, I think hashtags again are another thing that is really overlooked that people can it's so easy to do an ad
Yeah.
to a post.
Mm-hmm.
I get anywhere from 10 to 40% of my interactions are from people finding them from
Wow.
hashtags, and you can tell that in the insights. As you were saying, you
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
that. So you can't unfortunately see exactly which hashtags
Which
are bringing you
hashtag?
those. I
Yeah.
know, which is a little frustrating, but if you, it doesn't hurt. Like you were saying, if it's easy as making a list and every
Yeah.
once in a while re-looking at them or seeing if you need to freshen them up or adding
Mm-hmm.
one or two, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I've I digged it I dug
You
into
you
some of
dug.
the,
Yes.
I dug into the research. There's only been a couple studies that have been done exhaustively about hashtags and on Instagram specifically. And really, it's like use them, period, is pretty much what I
Mm-hmm.
took away from them. Like there were very
Mm-hmm.
subtle differences in the number and where you put
Mm-hmm.
them. Do you put them in the bottom of the post or do you put them in a comment and all
Comment.
that? Like I came away, like there was like maybe a 1 to 5% difference in the amount of engagement you got
Mm-hmm.
with
Wow.
where all of it was. So I came away from that going, just use them and it'll help
Mm-hmm.
you. Like don't
Yeah.
worry too much about
Yeah.
where they are and how that,
Yeah.
all of the details that we can get
Yeah.
ourselves lost in, and
Yeah.
what prevents us, gets that mental block from us just posting. Posting is better than
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's always been my mantra.
I heard you say that, and I've been thinking that to myself like all month. I'm like, it's okay. Posting is better than not. Just
There
put
you
it out
go.
there. It's Christmas. It's a pandemic. But posting is better than not. Okay.
Right, right. So yes, the other thing I heard you say was that you inserted yourself into the community that was already there. Other people have have talked about your, maybe not your specific flavor, but
Mm-hmm.
are
Mm-hmm.
in your niche, are in the
Yeah.
genre of things that you're writing about, that you're talking about. And you can go find them and you can
Yeah.
insert yourself into that community, and people will come to you because they're there as well and they're
Yeah.
interacting. And
Yeah.
it seems counterintuitive to look for other people who are beyond where you are. I think we mentally think, oh, we've got to find all the people underneath us, to bring
Yeah.
them here. But really interacting with people who are all the people in your space, following all
Yeah.
of them, seeing what they do, it helps you to not only, like we were talking about, people to come to you because they see you interacting and talking with them, but you're also get great ideas, you see what's going on, you feel you are more relevant
Yeah.
because you are already in the conversations that are happening. So it is very much worth, I feel, the time, effort, and energy to
Yeah.
create, to search that out. It's just like being at a party. If you're in the corner with your drink, not talking to anybody, who's
Yeah.
to blame for you not meeting someone that
Yeah.
night? You have
Well,
to
that
go to them.
that is always me at any party, Megan. but and I've managed to do okay. But you're right. It's about finding the right people, and I will say that has been the difference too. But just as a mindset like shift from me, having all these dreams and goals and starting my Instagram literally from zero because I didn't want to just switch my personal account over. And I invited friends and family to come, and that was like the first 57 followers or whatever. Like, not everybody in my life was terribly interested in what I was saying. But for it to change from being this sort of like, okay, I gotta grow, and seeing followers as numbers, and then as I engaged in the community more, that's when it switched to them being people. And what also happened then was that I felt that's when the switch happened from me being like, oh, I want to grow because I want to grow, to like, oh, I like these people, I want to serve them well, and I'm also finding it rewarding. Like, I am also personally getting something out of this because now I'm in this community of people that actually have the same sort of like way of seeing the world that I do. And that's like I said, like, now I go on and I, like, people are encouraging me as well as me encouraging them. And so it feels like this delightful thing I get to be a part of. And I really love it more now. And I think I have a healthier approach to it now. And I know that's different from like a solopreneur, like writer like me, where it's everything I have to offer is literally my heart on a plate. Okay, not literally, metaphorically my heart on a plate, but that's different than a business with a product to sell. But for people who are sort of like sharing this heart, I think finding your people so that you can encourage each other and share each other's work the same way you wish they would share yours is like also really, that's something I'm learning a lot, just how powerful it is to be a fan and share other people's stuff the way you wish people would do for you.
Yes, that is so true. I'm always surprised. Just even in the last couple of weeks, I did a little experiment for myself, and I love a lot of content that people are putting out, but they're just big. They're big names, or they have millions of followers, and so I like it mentally, but I don't physically tap the button or comment, and I just keep going. And so I made it a practice to myself. I set every single thing that I viewed, that I liked, I would like it and comment. And I was shocked at how many of the million plus follower people, or even, 10, 50, whatever, responded. They either liked my comment back, said thank you, all of that. And I was like, it just dawned on me, I can contribute to this conversation. Just thinking like it's a big thing, but like, oh no, they read my comment and actually responded. Like, they actually care. For some reason, there's like this, at least in my brain, there was this disconnect, thinking like, but no, that's probably how they got to where they are. Is really caring.
That's what they use.
Yeah.
And like, if there are that many, like, it could be an assistant liking that, but
Sure.
it feels like the person, you know? Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I feel like that is something that I've also learned from you. And I don't do that perfectly, you know, the whole the $1.80 method. Was that what it is?
Gary
Leaving
V. Yeah.
leaving your 2 cents on the top 9 posts or your top 10 hashtags or whatever. I haven't done that perfectly, but always in the back of my mind, it's like, okay, when I can get the time, I'm gonna batch edit all of my Instagram posts, like Megan says, and then I'll spend 15 minutes a day just going through and commenting on everything and leaving my 2 cents. And that's sort of like my aspirational goals. I'm not there yet, but yeah, you're so good at. That's one thing I just appreciate about you so much is that you find the way to make social media feel like normal people can do it and still be people at the same time, with the social media calm. Like it really is a rat race out there in this little tiny square that we spend so much time in. And yeah, I've really appreciated your insights as to how to keep it. Okay, I can do this, and then I can be done.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad I can be that for you. So two last questions. Number
Okay.
one, what would you say to the person who is just opening their account today, who is like at 0 followers? What encouragement would you give them?
I would say congratulations, because it's scary to open the account and see 0 staring at you and not know what to do about it. But that's a huge first step. And the sooner you do it, the sooner you'll grow. I think that I felt so late starting, and here I am a year and a half later. And look at that. The time passed and I put the work in, and now I have over 1,000 followers. Is that going to get me any kind of anything? No, but it's progress and I'm really proud of it. So I would say, yes, don't give up, because it's super vulnerable to start something from scratch and to figure out what you want to say. But don't be afraid to experiment. Just invite people that know you to join you, but don't push them, because you don't want people there that don't actually care about what you're saying. And, phrase it in such a way that, like, if you're interested in this, come follow me over here, because that's going to tell you more than that people who like you are just trying to be supportive. And then just start experimenting. And if you're not getting likes on things, after a couple of times, maybe don't do that as much. If you get a few more likes on something, try that and lean into your insights. Even if you have like 13 followers, there's still insights, and you can just sort of play with those and see if that does something for you. And then, just keep honing who your audience is and what they want. I think I would also say, one thing I see a lot of newcomers to Instagram do is they err on the side of saying too much. And I would err on the side of keeping it short. People are not looking to read novels when they are on Instagram. They're looking for like a quick snack as they scroll. So I just snapped, if you wondered what that sound was, listener. But they are looking for, just something that they can read quickly and think, and then keep going. And if they go, they'll probably like it. But yeah, that's probably what I would say. But well done, you new Instagrammer. You're doing great.
Well, thank you so much, Joy.
Yeah,
for doing this,
for,
for sharing your thoughts and how you grew, which I would say was quickly, and you found your people, which is hard to do. A lot of people spend years trying to figure that out. So I am always there in your corner, cheering you on, being your cheerleader. For those of us, or for those watching and listening who do not know you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so Joy Vetterlein is a pretty unique name, so I was able to snag it everywhere. So you can find me on Instagram at Joy Vetterlein. That's an Lein at the end there. And then same with my website, joyvetterlein.com. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter technically, but not quite as much as Instagram. That'll be, I'll talk to you offline about getting going on the rest of those.
Okay. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Okay. Thanks so much, Joy.
Yeah, you're the best. Thanks for doing this for all of us trying to grow.